Hello, welcome back to my desktop. This would be the third of the series of 3 lectures, which means it will be last. In this third lecture, we could talk about 2 higher order functions. One is map, the other one is filter. Map is the built-in function, but filter is not filter. You have to import a library called func2. You can check out the Googles. You can Google it. Not an issue. Let us start the slide. Let me call the pointer out. Okay. Anyway, my name is Ui. I'm from IntiSci Foundation. If you are interested in this kind of materials, you want me to include topics which is not covered in this tree, let me know in the comment below. If you like it, subscribe. If you don't, it's okay. Give a thumb up anyway. Thank you. Let's first talk about higher order function. These 2 are higher order function, which means it's a function very much loved by functional programmer. Anyway, they have no choice. Functional programmer have to use higher order function. According to many, this will be higher order function can contribute a lot more to software development in terms of modularity. Alright, I'm not so sure about it. Okay, but anyway, this is not avenue to talk about this issue. Let's proceed. And higher order functions are functions that can accept function as argument and also return function as a result. And both map and filter can do that. I retrieved this from Python standard library. Okay, you can find it from this site here, built-in function here, or you can Google. Alright, the documentation say map can accept a function in the first argument and iterable in the second or third and so forth, which means map can accept more than one iterable. And after contribution, it will return the iterator. In this case, the iterators have the length of the iterable that has a minimum length among all the iterable. Let's say the first iterable have 3 elements, the second one have 4, the third one have 2. The iterator object returned by the computation will be 2. Follow the minimum. All right. That's it. Let's proceed. This is a filter function. Filter function is different. Filter function will select the element from the list which satisfy the requirement. The requirement you written down there in a function. All right. It does not do computation on the element. Therefore, the differences come from here. Okay, select but not compute on. All right. I'm sorry, here this is a mistake. A filter comes from a library called func2. You can Google out. So sorry, there's an error here. The best way to study to understand these 2 functions is to apply in various problems. The first problem I'm going to apply into is somehow like this. Let's say I have 5 Python statements. Let's say I put this Python statement in a list as a string object. So I want to compute this statement. Since this is a legitimate Python statement, which one should I use? Map or filter? You're only given these 2 choices. Of course, I can use many other ways to do it. Let's say I only asked you, you only asked you to do this selection, map or filter. Obviously, this map because you're going to compute on the element of the list. These are the 5 statements, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first one comes from John, is 5 power of 2 times 3. This comes out to be 75. Second statement from Keith, 8 times 5, 40. 9 minus 40, I think is minus 31, and so forth. This is a legitimate Python statement because the # sign here say John is a command. So your interpreter will evaluate up to here and stop. Alright. So obviously, I will say map is the solution. I'm going to use a standard library called eval to apply into this argument, this element here, to compute the value. Alright, and list out the result as a list. Since map return a map object, you cannot print it in the list form, so I transform the map object into list using function list. So this is not an issue, and please run this in your computers. Try it out. I have to import math because I have used math exponential function here. Now, the second application, let's say I have series of integers, like this. This is an example. The first tuples I have 4 elements, the second I have 4, but the third one I have 5 elements. So what it means by the multiplication of the first element with the resulting exponential, the first element of the second tuple and the first element of the third tuple means here, the first example, 4 power of 2 is 16 times 3. Let me get a calculator out. 16 times 3. So I should get 48. Okay, the second one times 2, I should get 72, which is 2 times 6 to the power of 2. So 77 is 48 for first one. Second is 72, and so forth. I only get 4 results here. Of course, the answer is obvious, map, because like we say just now, map can operate on more than one iterables. So here, I'm going to do this, map here, power y. So I have 3 arguments. The first x is for the first tuple, y is for the second tuple, z is for the tuple. So the first is from x, y power of z, and then time them together, just like what I said just now, the result. Okay, let's continue. This will be the third problem. Let's see. Let's say I have a series of ages. This number is the ages for people, and I want to select from these people who are qualified to be vaccinated first. You must be younger than 10 years old and older than 60 to be qualified. So the problem is, how do I find out the number of people to be vaccinated? Because this involves selection. Obviously, your first tendency is to use filter to select the number from the list that qualify to be younger than 10 and older than 60. Let's do that. Okay, so this filter here is to select those with this qualification. So the first one is not qualified, second one yes, the third one 80 is qualified, 23 is not qualified, 56 not qualified, 60 is also not qualified because it must be older than 60, 10 is not qualified because it must be younger than 10, 78 yes, 101 yes, 88 yes, 92 yes, 38 no, 3 yes. So I have 7 qualified individuals from this list. This will be a test data, and then I compute the number of people there using this ridiculous for statement inside sum. Sum is a function that can accept a for statement like this. But I think for our purpose here, the simplest way is to transform the filter object into list and then find out the length. Alright, this will compute the number of people who qualify to be vaccinated first, which will be 7. I will try this code yourself. Okay, so let's try problem number 4. And let's say my company earns some money from some individual, a series of individuals. Out of this number, if the individual spend more than 500, it's taxable. I mean, more than 500, not 500. So if the individual, the customer spend more than 1,000, the tax will be 5%. Oh, sorry, 7%. If spend more than 500 but less than 1000 will be 5%. So if I give you a series of money people spend in my company, how much tax my company need to pay. Try that. Let's use this as a example of money people spend in my company on that particular day. For example, okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to filter out. I'm going to select those who spend more than 500 here. So the first one will not be selected because it's 500 exactly. Second one will be selected. The third one will not be selected. This one not selected. Selected, 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 not selected, selected. All right. And then for those who spend less than 1000 after the selection, we put this in the filter. Iterator will be here, and from this list of things we have selected just now, we can't compute. We're going to use map to compute the tax we need to pay. Anyone who spend less than 1000 from that list will be given 5%. Otherwise, we'll be given 7%, and we print it out. That will be the tax we need to pay. All right, the company need to pay. So here I use two functions, filter and map. This is just a one among one solution from many. Let's look at this solution one again from a different perspective. And now this filter will select those money that need to be taxed, but filter cannot compute on it. So this is still okay. But the next one is not alright because you try to compute the tax amount, and filter will not filter will just ignore what you do. Just okay. So in this case, right, this is wrong. Filter just select, do not compute, and produce a new number. Okay, so therefore, if you print A, this only a list of taxable money. Okay, B, I dare not print it. Don't waste my time. Okay, I know it's not going to work. And filter only select, not compute. So let's look at solution number 2. Solution number 2, I try to be a conservative. I define a function called the tax, and this is very readable because you can read from this thing here. It's multiple line. It's easy to read. Anybody earn more than 1000 will be 7% tax. Anybody not earn, spend. Anybody who spend more than 500 will be 5% tax, otherwise not taxable. So from here, I just apply this function on to this list and I print out the sum. Straightforward. This is called Python solution. Now the solution number 3, I can just use one map and ignore the filter because I can compute each one of them. Anyone who is not qualified, I just put it as 0. So when I submit, the 0 will not affect the overall tax amount. This is easy, but the Lambda have a ridiculous syntax here. For people from functional programming background, this is not an issue because this is considered quite easy. What you're going to do is you move down to the bottom here to find the first if else, and these are embedded if else here. So anybody who spend more than 500, this condition will apply, otherwise 0, return 0. So let's say you spend more than 500, but you also spend more than 1000 on that. Of course 1000 is more than 100 and the tax is 7%, otherwise 5%. So again, you print out the sum which will going to be the tax you need to pay, and this also work. And again, let's do the star in the alternative solution. I just put a parenthesis here to make the code more readable, but for functional programmer, this considered unnecessary because they deal with this kind of thing every day, not an issue for them. But for ordinary folks like us who use Python a lot, I would say the functional programming part like this will make our code less readable. So I would advise you to go for an easy solution. What I present to you just now, using like if else, They make things much more easier. Okay, I will summarize the difference between map and filter here in a 4x4 table. This is pretty easy, not difficult. Map perform computation on each of the element of the iterable, and filter only select, cannot compute. All right, and map able to work on more than one iterable, filter only one. So the difference is quite obvious. Then now we are at the end here. My advice is still the same. Try not to bring in functional programming into our development. If you want to use functional programming, you better go for other languages. And having said that, I'm not fanatical about the use of functional programming in Python. As long as it's readable, I do not object. Please try out other option if you have an option. All right. Let's say, for example, your boss only award you if you do functional in Python. By all means, do that. All right. I say thank you, and you have a nice day. Bye.